Good morning, channel. It's about 7:30, and man, I had a great night's sleep last night. The weather was just nice, a perfect temperature, just a slight breeze going through the tent. Um, we're supposed to have another beautiful day today. No rain, high 80s, which is great for riding. Just a nice, comfortable temperature. And tonight we're gonna head up to see a friend of mine, and actually, this is a guy that I used to work with or work for about 20 years ago. He's got an amazing story, and he does some amazing work. So we're going to get some shots of him on it with his work, and we're going to try to get him on camera, talk about what he's doing and why he's doing it, um, and because it kind of ties into this whole trip, this whole season that I'm on, about just finding the soul of America. And those are actually Tom's words, not mine. So, but I'll let him explain more. We'll find out a little bit about why he started his journey down that road. We'll look at some of his work, and we'll find out what his plans are for it in the future. And I think that'd be pretty exciting. I think you guys will really like that. I know I love the story. I loved it. I was hooked when I first met him, and when I first saw this work. So he's been doing it for probably close to 30 years now. It will be considered his life work. He's an amazingly talented photographer. And so I'm going to get packed up here. I'm going to show you the route, and then I'll show you the route first, and then I'm going to get packed up, and I'm going to hit the road kind of early today. I don't have that far to go. I only have about 129 miles to go today, but I do have some computer work I have to get done, a couple hours of that, so I'll probably go find myself a Starbucks or something to sit in and steal their Wi-Fi. And yeah, so that's it. Thanks for coming along for a ride. Had breakfast in the coolest place. So I'm in this little town, Lemoore, Pennsylvania, and found this little cafe, Val's Cafe. And it turns out that the cafe was started by a young girl named Val, and she died when she was 33, and all her friends got together and kept the cafe going. And so now it's still running today, and they all take turns working it, managing it. Coffee, breakfast sandwiches, that kind of thing. But just for one person to have that kind of impact on their circle, and then when they're missing, for that circle to really jump up and take charge, and that's really cool. That's kind of what I'm hoping to find. That's what I want to show you guys, what America's got, the soul of it. When you get lost and you just come across these random cool stories and random cool places that they happen, but to actually see it and be part of it is really excellent. We're heading back now. We're going to start talking to Tom, and we're going to get his interview and get him on camera for 4 or 5 minutes and have him talk about his Lost in America series, what it means to him, how it started, and what changes he's seen going on through it. Should be interesting. I'm pretty excited, so let's go.
Lost in America started by I was going through some life changes, some transformational issues, and being a pilot, I always read Flying Magazine. This is going back to 1999, before the millennial started, or millennium, or whatever the hell it is. I read the article in Flying Magazine, Flying the Mojave by Russell Munson. And there was a beautiful photograph on the cover of Flying Magazine, an aerial view of the desert. They let him to Andrews Air Force Base. He flew to Roy's. He flew to some really great places in the desert. And I saw Roy's and I saw 66 and I said, I have to go. I started shooting. I fell in love with the desert. I fell absolutely in love. I'll send you a picture later. It was the first shot I took out there of the window. But I just wandered around the desert, just mesmerized by the space, by the night sky. Originally, the project was called Outer Limits, but then I settled on Lost in America because Lost in America is not about being lost, but about being lost in the essence of the American landscape. But the Southwest, to me, Utah and those areas are you can see the face of God in the night sky. It's just absolutely mesmerizing. And you can see also too, there's a lot of history out there, the old motels that don't exist anymore. So there's a certain beautiful desolation to the desert. There's a certain beautiful desolation to what's gone on out there. There's a sadness to it, but there's also a beauty to it because the people out there are the people that want to be there, and I think that's the difference. I know at least 10 people in that neck of the woods, day tripping out of Vegas or leaving out of Vegas. Excellent photographers that are all covering these areas. So people are just drawn. There are actually people on Instagram that won't post where the photographs are from because they're natural phenomena, like in the Arizona deserts and everything. They don't want people overrunning it, so they won't share the locations. But a lot of the places on 66, and it's brought business back to those areas. So my attitude, I guess the only thing that's changed in my attitude is a little bit of a sadness, because what used to be once desolation, and you could have it kind of all to yourself, is now overrun with tourists and people that may or may not really appreciate it for what it is. Route 66 and being lost in America, it says a lot about the country. If you stayed at a motel out there, and some of the motels I've stayed at, now you can still feel the ghost of like the salesman going through, the couple that just got married in Vegas, or the people that are going to a new life in California. It's an iconic part of this country. The thing I found too also is this. The East Coast is traditionally family oriented. This is where everybody came from Europe. This is where everybody settled. This is, for the most part, where everybody stays. The West Coast, the Southwest, Colorado, those areas, people are there because they want to be there. They've chosen to pick up from here, leave their families in many cases, and move out there. And I know lots of people, actually people that I know right now, people up in Northern California, that left their families out east to start a new life in California. And that's always been the way. And that was kind of the beauty of 66. And that's what 66 was all about, the push west, starting a new life, starting new experiences, new opportunities. So I went out there with a film camera and I started shooting. And when I started shooting, I was just kind of randomly. I was in a different psychological space, and I was just shooting everything I could shoot. I was just going like a wild man. I think in 1999 or 2000, 1999, I made 5 trips within a period of 6 or 7 months. And I started taking other cameras. I bought the Hasselblad X-Pan, which is a panoramic, which was beautiful for out there. And I started learning more about the area, Amboy Crater, Roy's. Probably after the second trip, I started printing stuff. I started looking more critically at what I had, and I started printing stuff. My first show was in Manhattan. The show was called Ando at Zando's. So I thought that was pretty clever. But it was really well received. It was beautiful. And the thing that I loved so much about it was nobody had any images like this. These were images from the desert. These were images of desolation. These are images of just raw, primal beauty from the desert. And I looked around Manhattan and I saw none of it. There wasn't anything happening. This was prior to a lot of this stuff going on. So I started showing in Jersey, and people bought prints along the way. I was shooting commercially at the time, so I did license some of the prints to certain manufacturers. There are certain companies where one company was doing a thing on Route 66. I sold them I licensed this highway shot to them off 66 with the sunset. But the fiber base is, a lot of people want that fiber base, the silver gelatin prints, because it's old school. And kind of now it's 2020, and kind of old school is back. Film is back. People are appreciating what used to be. So everything old is new again.
And that's Tom Ando, amazing storyteller. I'll put links below for all his websites. Cool. I want to thank Tom for being on camera with us, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you later.